I'm Olivia Metzger.
I'm Lydia Mackey, and this is
Iowa Women, advocating women's rights through literature, legislation, and medicine. Had it not been for Mary Jane Cogshell, these pages in our history would be darker than they are. Mary was incredibly successful in writing. However, she had many failures during her lifetime. She worked ceaselessly for the suffrage cause for 41 years, but did not live to see the goal obtained. She endured many disappointments. At age 74, she watched as the 1911 Iowa legislature once again reject the women's suffrage amendment.
how fallen women laugh behind their fans at the spasmodic efforts of city officers, when they know that these same officers think that they cannot run a city without them. But if disorderly houses can be driven from one part of the city, they can be driven from another. And if the police can make one successful raid, they can make multiple. If officers and people will rid themselves of this disgraceful micro of necessity, we believe Des Moines could soon rise into the pure and safe city that it should be. Today gives you the opportunity to do such. I hope that you have taken it.
Thank you for your closing speech. The Iowa Senate has come to a decision. If not on this vote, the yeas are 13 and the nays are 37. This bill is denied.
Ms. Cogshell, what do you have to say? How do you feel about your bill being rejected for the third time?
My 25 years has but deepened Bruin's conviction that this reform is the need of the age.
How did you feel when they rejected this bill?
After all these years, it does test the mettle of women to walk steadily forward, year after year, and be misunderstood.
Do you have any final remarks?
Women have toiled up the steps of the old Capitol, only to see our bills defeated upon final vote. We who took our baby boys with us to those early meetings now find that these boys are voters, but their mothers are still standing for freedom. We will only hope that the next generation of women may find their work made easier as we chart the path for them.
Mary's friends later recalled how she left the Capitol with a pale face, a broken heart, and a troubled look. Mary died later the same year, after seeing her lifetime of work spent to no avail. Although this bill was not passed, her unflagging commitment to the suffrage cause is both an inspiration and a lesson to you in your time to stand up and be vigilant and persevere in our efforts for equal rights.
Personally, Dr. McCowan is one of the most modest and unassuming women, who is generous, tactful, and witty. Her influence is always most helpful and broadened to those who are privileged to enjoy her friendship, and her sterling qualities that make her life an inspiration to those whose lives she touches. Harry E. Downer.
I have done extensive research on this topic, and I cannot find one bit of credible evidence.
Jenny, you're arguing with the facts. This has been proven by multiple well-known scientists, which I do not believe you have the liberty to call credible. You're a goddamn woman.
Women can do anything just as well as men. I cannot believe that it's even being entertained to the fact that mental disorder in women is dependent upon functional or organic disturbances in the reproductive system.
No one will ever believe you, no matter how much evidence you have. Let me give you an example right now. Schwarter Vanderkolk mentions the case of a woman, profoundly melancholic, who suffers from plexus uteri, and in whom the melancholia disappeared when the uterus was restored to its proper place.
I can but think the more conclusive evidence that has yet been adduced is essential to the belief that any woman should, by reason of her sex, be unable to bear the ordinary trials of life or natural physiological functions of her organism.
I can't believe this. Remember, you work for me. Do you even have that report done?
Well, not quite.
Jenny, I am so sick and tired of you talking about this irrelevant theory and not even getting your actual work done. Finish that report now or there will be serious consequences.
A disease which deprives a man of all his rights and privileges as a member of the community in which he lives, of his right to this home and family, to the care, to himself, a disease which during its impotent and curable stages is most often under our care by the most profound methods known to the profession. I will stand up to them.
Gertrude Rush not only contributed to this nation and to this world, but to her own local community, making life better for so many in her stand for the justice of women and her plea for Christian living. An African-American Iowa native daughter who is a role model and a continued inspiration to modern-day women.
Miss Vaughan Sansom is a respectful citizen, just like you and me. Have you ever drank before? I know that some of you certainly have. This is against her rights as a citizen of the United States of America. You see, today, the prosecution is wrongly accusing her with liquor charges only because they were seeking vengeance. They have taken this too far. Therefore, we request you find Ms. Vaughan Sansom not guilty of the heinous acts she most certainly did not commit. Thank you.
You may proceed.
I call my witness, Ms. Vaughan Sansom, to the stand. Ms. Vaughan, do you know what you're being charged with today?
Liquor charges or something?
And around how much whiskey did you purchase in the past 2 months?
About 26 bits.
How much of that is the prosecution accusing you of drinking?
Way more than I did.
On average, how much alcohol do you consume in, let's say, a week?
About 10 fifths.
I can't see anything unusual with that. It's possible for a person to sit down right now and drink a fifth.
Counselor, Counselor, the court is curious to know if Miss Sansom can drink liquor like that.
That I can. Do you want me to demonstrate right here?
I think we've heard enough. I now sentence Miss Vaughan Sansom to 30 days in jail for operating a disorderly house, and the grand jury sentences her for violating the general section of the liquor law and selling beer without a license. The court is adjourned. During her long practice, Gertrude Rush won all kinds of cases. She won over 2,000 divorce cases, won acquittal for a client on a first-degree murder case, and had a decision in her favor upheld by the Iowa Supreme Court. She stood up to the racists and the sexists, making her a continued legacy.
I took a stand for women, gaining justice for them through the law. I built an organization of lawyers for blacks, taking a stand against the organizations that would not let blacks join. I have stood up and won multiple trials that were considered nearly impossible. I am Gertrude Rush.
I took a stand against the ideals of society when I graduated from college as one of the first female physicians in Iowa. Through my perseverance, I took a stand against men by proving the quantity theory of insanity to be incorrect. I am Jenny McCowan.
I use my talents in writing to create speeches with the power to sway many audiences and stand up against the impurities of the time. I organize hundreds of events, taking a stand of leadership with one goal in mind: equal rights. I am Mary Cogshaw.
I took a stand in legislation.
I took a stand in medicine.
I took a stand in literature.
We are Iowa women.
I love the fact that a lot of your script, it seemed to me, were quotes.
Yeah. Large
And
portion.
A large portion of them. Some I recognized, some I didn't, but I was very impressed with you incorporating that right into the script. Then it becomes, I don't know, maybe more real, you know. And at first I thought, ooh, they're going to do 3 women. How can you do 3 women? You know, I go, ooh. But I think you did it well.
Thank you.
Very well.
Yeah, that was my first one, was I love that you used and incorporated them so smoothly, crafting that into the real speeches into a production that you did well. And I love your bookcase. I thought it was very appropriate and very clear. I can tell you've done a lot of work on that in your costumes and your presentation. And it's wonderful. I hope someone uses it in their bedroom. If not, it might. It really is a beautiful piece of artwork. I loved also your ending, how wonderfully clear it was. Because as an audience member, it wasn't confusing. So that's not what I'm saying. But watching you portray 3 different women, one right after the other, without necessary scene breaks. Now, we didn't need those scene breaks because it was a fluid story. But then at the ending, when you came through and clearly defined, this is who I was, this is what I did, and made it that dramatic and that clear, it just made it polished and perfect.
Thank you.
A personal thank you from me. Thank you for not doing this as cranky women. Thank you so much for being compassionate and brilliant, and I'm all choked up because it was beautiful. So thank you.
Yeah, the board we took 3 days.
Oh, wow, good job.
Yeah, we cut it and we put hinges on and then we painted it.
Awesome,
And
awesome.
actually, a really cool fact about our board is
Yes.
that all the books on here we did a lot of research on, they're all from before 1886, so these are real book titles.
Yeah, they're all real
Thought I'd mention
titles
that.
or authors.
That's worth mentioning. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Do
you.
you know if any of these 3 women are on the plaque at the historical building as the women of the suffragette movement in Iowa?
I think Mary Cogshell might be because she is a more popular figure, and so she might be, but we're not entirely sure.
Somehow that plaque got lost when they moved to the new building,
Oh,
and they're still looking for it.
Oh.
I just wondered if in any of your research you found out if any of your women were on there.
There was an Iowa award, the Iowa Women's Hall of Fame, that both Gertrude and Mary were selected into.
all right. You have about 4 minutes to take down. One other request I'm just going to make as a theater person here in Cedar Rapids, I would like you, 3 of you, to seriously consider doing this sort of thing in the future, continuing to take real stories and presenting them. You have a good talent for it. It's necessary and it's needed, and you do it so well. So I would like you to seriously consider what you just did today as a possibility for your future careers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sincerely appreciate that.
Okay, and thank you.
Thank you.